5 freeway, which that goes on forever, of course. So I'm not even going to get into all of her options here. But the northbound 5, I'm just going to look up real quick. It doesn't look like the traffic is actually that bad. I can see as far as roughly to about the 405 freeway in Mission Hills, and it looks like traffic is actually generally light, kind of like what we're seeing here. So she won't experience super heavy traffic as she continues northbound on the 5.
And we want to remind our viewers that she is driving and she's got a small white dog in the passenger seat, and we believed it's wearing a seatbelt, right?
From the tight shots that we're seeing from the passenger side when we did, it did appear that the dog was wearing a seatbelt. Ileana, what is the playbook here for the LAPD and or the CHP if and when they're joined because they're on the freeway system now?
Yeah, so at this point, the LAPD can call the CHP, and of course CHP has already been advised about the pursuit, but they can request that CHP take over. And there's certain situations where CHP may say no, but in a situation like this where obviously this is a dangerous individual, it's not just a property crime, because sometimes if this was just a stolen car, they may just let it go. They may just say, oh, well, you know, we'll get this vehicle back at some other point. It's more important for us to make sure that everybody is safe on the roads versus continuing to follow her. But in this case, obviously, we know it's not a property crime. It does qualify as a violent crime. It was a shooting, whether or not there was a victim. So for this reason, the LAPD is going to try to stick with it as long as they can, but they will always have that option of asking CHP to take over the pursuit. Because it is now on the freeway, they really would be the best equipped to do it, especially because some of these LAPD cruisers, they're so far out of their jurisdiction. I mean, these units came from essentially downtown. They're so far out of their jurisdiction that they could possibly start to have radio issues and communication issues between them and the dispatchers. The CHP, though, isn't going to have that problem.
It is now 5 o'clock. We've been following this pursuit of a woman wanted in a shooting investigation.
That shooting apparently happened about an hour ago in Echo Park. The chase is now in, I'm looking up there, it's in Pacoima. Ileana Moreno is still overhead in News Chopper 4. Ileana, this is the fastest we've seen her go all day.
Yeah, let me zoom in so we can get the most accurate speed. And yeah, we've got her going at about freeway speeds, but she really hasn't been going that incredibly fast. And she also hasn't been driving that recklessly. But the crime that she's wanted for is pretty serious. This woman is described as being about 40 years old, was apparently involved in some sort of shooting that took place earlier today off of Echo Park Avenue and Bellevue Avenue. Now, what we don't know is if anyone was actually struck. If they were, we don't have their condition at this point, or if this was a situation where she shot up into the air or just fired shots in general. But they were able to get a description of the woman. They were able to get a description of the vehicle. And LAPD was very quick in locating that car. They tried to pull her over in Hollywood, but she failed to yield, and the pursuit was on, making its way northbound on the 101 to the northbound 170, and now northbound 5 approaching the 405 in Mission Hills.
Again, as we continue with this picture, we want to give you the latest information we have, and that is this is a 40-year-old woman. The shooting happened at about 4 o'clock or so in Echo Park. We understand the LAPD may still be looking for the possible victim out there.
That's right. And so right now you're seeing this vehicle in the San Fernando Valley in the Mission Hills area, driving on the 5 freeway. You see at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units behind her, as well as 6 units behind her. Again, she hasn't, well, now she's starting to pick up speed, Colleen, over 90 miles an hour at some points.
You know, we have with us on the phone right now as we continue to look at this shot from News Chopper 4, retired Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, retired LAPD. Cheryl, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
What's the playbook on this? Officers just continue to follow her?
Well, they certainly can, and it just depends on what they find out in their follow-up investigation in terms of the seriousness that they want to add to the crimes that she's already believed to have committed. And it looks, as I'm watching along with you, that she's traveling at a, fairly reasonable speed, and she seems to be going in one direction on the I-5.